a naive but kind-hearted hedgehog with telekinetic powers. He travels back in time to save the future from the disaster that befalls it. With the help of a stranger bearing the ability to travel through time, he begins his chase after the Uplift trigger. Hero of the future, Silver the Hedgehog brings a unique flavor of gameplay to PO6. While not too competent physically, his psychic powers more than make up the difference to hold his own against the other characters. Silver's top speed isn't anything to write home about, and he can't spin jump or Badnik bounce into enemies, but let's put a pin in that until he gets a little more perspective. The main attraction of Silver's move kit is his Psychokenesis. At base, a press of the custom action button will lift and carry nearby objects in a cone-shaped radius in front of him, costing some of the energy in the action gauge. This meter serves as PO6's magic system, limiting the use of the character's more powerful abilities. If the button is held down while moving, Silver will lift up objects that enter his radius, provided he has the energy to do it. The action gauge will refill naturally while Silver is on the ground and not actively using his powers. It can also be gained by collecting blue and yellow energy cores from defeated enemies, or instantly with a gauge up capsule. The latter methods fill up the gauge regardless of Silver's predicament, and with how vital his powers are for his gameplay, keeping the gauge topped off is a priority. While lifting objects, Silver can move and jump around with them, where they will interact with the environment in different ways depending on what the object is. For example, holding a steel box will push around enemies if moved at a high enough speed, but if the object is something like a spike ball, to release objects from Silver's grasp, simply press the custom action button again. While this method sets them down gently, there are ways to turn any object into a deadly weapon. Say hello to the Psycho Smash. By pressing the attack button, Silver will throw out a small concentration of psychic power that can push away obstacles and stun enemies. While carrying objects, pressing the button will launch them one by one in the order that they were grabbed. This has some aim assist to help actually hit what's being targeted, and is smart enough to not have other lifted objects get in the way of what's being thrown. Silver's Psychokenesis can also grab most hostile enemy projectiles too, and with the Psycho Smash, they can be fired back at them. Yeah, nice try, bud. Instead of just pressing the attack button, hold it down for about a second to charge a hold smash. At full power, releasing the button will throw everything Silver is carrying at once, leading to some mass destruction if used creatively. For some bad manners, the hold smash can also deal a little damage if released near foes. Enemies that are stunned can be lifted as well, and can be used as projectiles or crushed by pressing the custom action button, which insta-kills them regardless of health. Yeah, health bars are basically cosmetic in Silver's case, which helps the flow of his gameplay a great deal. Quickly double tapping the custom action button will cause Silver to focus his powers with the Psychokenesis-All. This will pick up anything liftable in a decent radius around him, but he loses his ability to move until every object is released. All of the same rules of releasing base Psychokinesis has applies here too, including a dope animation when using the hold smash with this technique. Pressing the custom action button while standing on a liftable object causes Silver to uplift it. At a heavy cost of the action gauge, this can be used to easily reach previously inaccessible high ground. Hitting the attack button while uplifting an object performs the uplift smash, where Silver will launch his foothold in whatever direction he's facing with great force. Throughout his campaign, Silver will come across special runes on the ground. These amplify his power when Psychokenesis is used on them to open doors and create platforms. In certain situations, they can also help the Hedgehog manipulate much larger objects than he could on his own. And in PO6, they are all properly oriented toward what they activate, unlike the original game. Thanks, Chaos. Moving on, Silver can also use his powers on himself to do some special maneuvers. Pressing the jump button while in the air activates his Levitate ability. For as long as the action gauge allows, Silver can move freely in the air along the same altitude. It can be deactivated at any time by letting go of the button, and reactivated by pressing it again. Some clever use of this move can help Silver cross larger gaps than he could normally. He can also levitate while holding objects, but don't forget to keep an eye on that action gauge. Double tapping the jump button from the ground will initiate the teleport dash. This is a short burst forward that consumes some of the action gauge. While not terribly useful on its own, Silver is invulnerable to touch damage during the dash, allowing him to fly through enemies. Holding the attack button in the air activates the Psycho Shock. This is one of the most useful moves in his arsenal, as it stuns any foe in a decent radius around him once he lands. The landing animation can also be cancelled with a jump or Psycho Smash, and since Silver doesn't care about enemy health bars, literally any formation can be decimated in seconds with a Psycho Shock Shock Psychokinesis or Psychokenesis-All combo. Absolutely devastating. If Silver finds himself in need of a ranged option but doesn't have any objects to lift, the Psychic Shot will do the trick. Based off his first encounter with Sonic, a press of the secondary attack button uses up some of the action gauge to fire a projectile that can destroy objects, stun enemies, and damage them after the stun. The orb also has homing properties to make using it on the move easier. And that's not all. Just like the Hedgehogs before him, Silver can find a few upgrades throughout his campaign to enhance his abilities. Since the character hasn't been explored much outside of his original appearance, each upgrade is seen as a representation of growth in his journey. First up is the Lotus of Resilience. Having now witnessed the different world that is the past, Silver has newfound determination and grows stronger in mind and flexibility, improving his movement options. Learning from his more agile companions, Silver has gained the ability to spin, jump, and Badnik bounce like them. This is massive for his gameplay, as he now has a method to deal with enemies that doesn't require his psychokinesis. That's less cumbersome than the hold smash anyway. This also unlocks a ton of new routes thanks to the added movement. Additionally, the teleport dash now lasts the full duration of the action gauge, speeding him up significantly. While it consumes energy at a faster rate than levitation, it covers more distance thanks to its faster speed. And now that the dash is more useful, it's worth noting that Silver can still initiate one even after other actions like uplifting an object or grinding on rails. Next up is the Flame of Control. Gaining new clarity thanks to Shadow in the past, Silver now has a new goal to strive for and continues to grow stronger, unlocking more power out of his psychokinesis. Now with greater focus, Silver throws objects for more damage with the hold smash and gains a new ability, the Psychic Knife. Ironically taking some inspiration from his future self, holding the secondary attack button will charge it. Letting go releases the blade in the direction Silver is facing. It has a shorter range than the shot and it doesn't home in, but its increased damage, radius, and ability to travel through targets more than makes up for it. Mashing the baton after releasing will fire as many knives as the action gauge allows, and both the shot and blade are capable of going through solid objects too. And that's still not all. S-ranking every stage in Silver's campaign proves mastery of his abilities, which unlocks the Sigil of Awakening. Silver's desire to save the world releases a latent super ability that overclocks his psychokinesis. Blast away enemies with psychic energy, reflect almost every projectile, perform insane teleport dashes across huge gaps, and so much more. To enter this state, Silver will need some of the extra power the energy cores provide, which now also fill up the new maturity meter below the action gauge. Once it's past the white marker, holding D-pad up and pressing the custom action button releases that energy in the form of ESP mode. In further detail, activation of this power unleashes a massive blast of psychic energy, instantly defeating anything in its radius. During its duration, Silver will reflect enemy projectiles, stun enemies near him automatically, dispose of those stunned enemies instantly with the Psycho Smash, be able to use the Psychokenesis-All while moving, power up the Psychic Shot to hit foes in an area around its contact point, and use his Psychokinesis abilities more efficiently, conserving about a third of their energy usage. Whew, that's a lot of stuff. It's important to know that Silver will take touch damage, even with ESP active, so he'll still have to watch his step. Once activated, Silver will remain in the state until the maturity meter runs out of energy. Collecting energy cores does not extend its duration. This is the most interesting quirk of this form. Is it better to activate it early for a quick shortcut, or wait until the maturity meter is filled up further to have it for longer? Some shortcuts that can be performed seem to be designed around this as well. Very cool. And that's everything Silver can do in the Silver Patch version 1.4. And wow, is it alive. If this video sparked your interest in speedrunning Silver's story, hop in the community Discord linked in the description to get started. Myself and many other folks are more than happy to help you out. Thanks to ChaosX for fact-checking this video, and to all the members of the Stummo crew that support what I do. I wouldn't be here without you. If you'd like your name in the credits, access to these videos early, or maybe even throw out a Stummo pog in the comments section, hit the join button down below. Thanks so much for watching, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.